But it's like the tension between brand and kind of building those lovely funnels and those great ads and the ones that have these really big swings. I think the tension is getting greater. And I mean, they're the conversations we're having with clients right now, and it's trying to work out where the middle point is, you know?
Where do you think, like why do you think the tension there gets heavier?
Because I think what's interesting, right? I think for advertisers, I think if I'm saying this correctly, we're both only do Meta, right? You've done a bit of kind of offline stuff more. I mean,
Yeah,
Times Square, fucking biggest congratulations ever. I've said it many times, but I'll say it
thanks,
again.
Beast.
But it's like, I think what's really, I think the tension's growing because you've got other channels that are probably doing not better, but probably are doing, they're being given targets, numbers that need to hit. And then you've got the Meta kind of advertisers who are saying we need to hit these targets. And they're saying, well, if we want to hit these targets, we've got to have to make ads that look like this. And we have to
Yeah.
try these types of swings. And then it's like, well, no, but the brand matters. And then you have a head of brand talking about how it's important to have brand. But I think finding the middle spot is really difficult.
I do too, and I think, like, I mean, I had a full-on rant about it a couple weeks ago about you don't have a brand yet, but I think people need to be more cognizant of just because something looks a certain way doesn't mean it's off brand.
That's the thing. And I think
Brand
that's
is your tonality, like your
precisely,
reputation, what people feel when they think of you, what
precisely,
they associate you with, like, it's reputation.
100%.
I
And
don't
it's,
think that
yeah,
I don't think, like, you ruin brand from changing up formats and
no,
colors.
no.
So what? Who gives a shit?
I think that's the thing though, isn't it? If you look at kind of like the triangle, right? If you look at kind of what Meta is now penalizing, right? If you just do, color change, text change, right? Meta will group that together with similarity. But now if you look at, and this is the one thing that one day I would love to build, and it will take a long time because it's like, it's a bit of a mental, like, not a masterpiece, but be a mental framework and a half is what would be the ultimate content diversification template? Like, is there a framework where, because if we both agree that creative is now, the game has sadly become a creative signal to an AI that then pushes it to an audience, right? Because AI does the targeting, right? The audience
Yeah.
stuff. So the game is, how can we have the strongest signal to the AI that then pushes it to the the audience? For me, it's like, is there a set of like 15 ads that you would make that would give the best signal to the AI to understand? And I don't know. I've never worked. I don't know if there is like the 15 best ads. Like, is it a podcast clip? Then is it a static that's like an us versus them? And then is there one that's before and after? Is it a testimonial? Is it a, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I wonder, you know, I mean, listen, all these new AI things come out, or all these updates, Gemini 3 came out, whatever, and
You
2
know,
weeks later, we're back to where we started, and it goes to shit.
well,
Do you do
yeah,
you think that if Zuck happens by some miracle of God
yeah,
to be able to replace advertisers for the creative, do you really think
no,
is
because I mean, here's
like
a question, right? This is the big debate I've always had about AI as a concept.
because
Because
not to cut you off, but
yeah,
the part of it is to me is I don't think humans wanna fully trust AI to complete everything in their ad account
but also I think,
because it's gonna be using creative that
yeah,
nobody would know.
yeah, but I also think, to be honest with you, yes, businesses need to cut costs and they want to make their, they want to make their kind of costs go down and they want to get rid of the agency model, they want to get rid of agencies and whatever. But I also think there's a part of me that thinks people actually like working with people. Like, people actually want a feeling of, like, it may sound, I mean, again, sadly, we're the ones that've got our heads on the chopping block. But the fact that it's subjective what we do, they'll blame us for bad performance and whatever, and we can tell them that, hey, this is the framework we're doing, this is what we've discussed, right? It's going to take time for the results you want to see. If it's AI, who do they blame next? You can't be blaming
Exactly.
OpenAI.
There's
You're
no
not going to blame Sam
scapegoat.
Altman.
There's no scapegoat.
There's no scapegoat. Which again is why I think we're getting into a very interesting place, and it's why, you're very, again, your whole brand is on psychology, because tech changes, psychology doesn't. right? I saw, for example, there's a trend going on right now. I don't know if you've seen it, where it's like private IG story versus public IG story. Have you seen that? Have you seen that trend? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you boil it down to its core essence, right? It's the exact. It's a story that's been told 1,000 times, right? It's what people show in real life, like online, and the real like rawness. But all it was a packaging change, and just told the story in a different way. You know, the great concept is, Jaws, right? And you look at Alien. Is it Alien? Yeah. It's just Jaws in space, right? And so it's
Gotcha.
been remixed, but just changed in the context. And I think the reason why I think AI will struggle with that, I think it will help with the ideation. I think that's where we've always agreed that AI is really useful. But I think there needs to be that element of a human in that loop. For the time being, it may change in 5 years' time. But I
Well,
don't. I don't like that
here's
world.
the other
I
thing,
don't.
right? Here's the other thing. AI currently cannot generate new ideas.
No,
It can't.
no.
Here's my take. I don't know if it ever will be able to. Because think about it this way, right? The human brain is able to somehow learn and associate things from experience and put things together that we would have never thought and start to make associations and learn. It's the greatest machine God ever created, is right up here.
Mm,
Greatest one. There is nothing in the world that beats it.
mm.
We don't even know how it fucking works. And you telling me that you think we're going to be able to apply it to a super intelligence to be able to do that?
Well, it's like, it's interesting though,
No
isn't it?
way.
If you look at all models and what these pre-training companies are trying to do, they're trying to essentially map the brain out as a computer. They're trying to copy the brain, how the brain uses neural links and how it thinks. And I think it's
Here's my thing. I don't know. One is what's the point? What is the point of all this?
it's a
Like,
great
do we
question.
have a reason for doing this to just replace ourselves?
But
What are we
then,
going to put everybody on government benefits down the line?
yeah. But then, what game are we playing? I always say,
That's what I'm saying. Like, who, like, why did we start this AI race in the first place? Right? And that's not a question for me. I don't know. It's a
wow.
question for the guys doing it,
Well,
who
then,
are building the actual intelligences. But
yeah.
also, what's the end game?
Well, but this is the thing, though. I think because what are we going to get to a world where you and I just put our bank cards into Meta and we say, "Here is a product, go make me money," and it makes the ads, makes video assets, it calls the UGC content creators, whitelist those ads. Big thing, by the way, whitelist ads are up at the moment. Watch out for that. Just saying. We can go into nuance about that in a second, but whitelist ads are huge right now. But it's like, I just don't understand. Like, for me personally, I'm always a big believer in the second order effects, second order thinking. If everyone's got access to that type of way, how do you differentiate?
Also,
But
just
because
regression.
because you can't optimize the optimized. Because there's a point. I mean, that's why we were talking about it at Big. That it was like, okay,
You still
if
have
we,
to make
we
people buy. That's the fucking problem, right?
but that's the thing. That's the thing. And to be honest with you, I think, and this is something that I'm learning, is realistically everything boils down to one core concept of, does your product solve a core problem?
Yeah,
And in fashion, it's a bit different though,
yeah.
because it's like, it's aspirational. But is it tied to something that's clear, and like, is there clarity in what you're tying up to? Because I think a lot of companies, they'll do like, they'll make I don't know, a supplement, and they'll offer every ingredient that does everything. It's like, well, you're doing everything, then people don't know what you stand for, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But I think talking about things that stand for stuff, me and Carson, we were debating what we would talk about on today's show. And I think something that we really want to go back to is the great old nostalgia. And we want to talk about the 5 big ads that have changed the world. Now, this is subjective, of course, because this is what we believe have changed the world. But we came together and we had some off-camera
And they
discussions.
quite literally did change the world.
They did change the world. We disagreed on which ones, but we've come to a list of 5 that we think fundamentally changed everything. I mean, look, most people, again, it's a bit of a trend right now, don't want to get married and they want to whatever. Weddings are a very popular thing, but it all starts, right, with an engagement ring, especially diamonds. And it's the De Beers campaign in 1947. Carson, tell me about it. Why do you like this ad?
De Beers?
Yeah. Oh, tell me about it. First of all, beers, so unreal name, De Beers, the beer, but anyway, sorry.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Um, dude, so De Beers, what I like about De Beers ad is it's kind of a double entendre. A diamond is forever is also a metaphor for marriage. Marriage is forever. But a diamond quite literally lasts forever. And when they had their second coming of this campaign, which is, hold on, I'm going to bring it up. But what I love about the campaign is it repositioned how people thought about diamonds. Like
Yes.
diamonds aren't just here, there, and come and go. Like it's something that it's a trend that will last forever. It's a rock that will last forever. And it shows your person that you want to last with them forever. Right. So it's like one big metaphor, which
Mm.
is super cool. Cause like back in the day, I mean, print ads went a long way, but
I would have loved to be an advertiser
they
back in the day, wouldn't
they
you?
they what?
Wouldn't you love to be an advertiser in the 50s,
Oh,
60s?
dude, yeah, I would kill. I would kill for it. Oh,
Yeah,
here's
sorry.
it was how can you make 2 months salary last forever? The diamond engagement ring. And like it's a you can't literally make 2 months salary last forever, but it's an investment and it will keep that value. So it shows that like when you invest in a diamond, it's not going to depreciate, it's going to appreciate, not that you're ever going to sell it,
Precisely.
but
Yeah. I mean
you
I mean,
can
look,
make that salary last forever. And I loved that part. Like both of those go so hand in hand with showing like the commitment and being together and like um solidifying marriage is lasting forever. And I think that's why it did so well and changed the world. I mean, that had like I think it increased the diamond market by like 80%.
oh, like, but for me personally, the reason why I loved the kind of Diamonds Forever campaign is because if you look at it from kind of the backdrop of what was happening, you had the Great Depression, World War II had finished, diamond sales had collapsed. The demand for diamonds was nothing. It was seen as diamonds were kind of that unnecessary luxury item because people didn't have the money to spend on them. So for me, what I loved is they hired this copywriter. So his name was Francis Grady, and he was the one that came up with the "Diamond Is Forever" campaign. And you talk about impact; that has probably been the cultural backbone of the diamond industry, right? Like the fact that for me, what was so clever, even though we call it an ad, I would regard it as like mass cultural engineering, right? Because it was a culture change, right? And I think that for me, if you had to say, and what was the takeaway from that campaign, from this campaign and this ad, right, is marketing, the best marketing and the best advertising you'll see, right, will will go after a norm of an industry and will change the tone and the pacing of it. And Diamond is Forever is a great example. And as you were saying about, the 2 month salary thing, right?
Yeah.
I think interesting, there's a really interesting stat. So before 1947, only 10% of engagement rings had diamonds in them, right? And now look, now Carson, it's the default.
Yeah,
It's default.
it's like above 80% are all
So
diamonds.
So I think what is really clear, and again, I think this is where if you boil it down to its core essence, and we can help people that are with a DC brand and are looking at this going, "Oh, how will this help me?" It's well, okay. If again, I'm guessing if you're starting out, if you've got a demand problem, so what is the cultural norm of the industry you're in? What are people saying? What are the jokes? What are the memes about it? And can you position against it? And can you actually stand for something else? Because that's what the best advertisers do. They stand for something,
Yeah.
and it's very hard to do.
And people don't remember you, they remember what you stood for.
Precisely.
So what do you stand for? And how far are you willing to go to be able to stand for it?
Talking about something, a brand and a campaign that I think they're the most well-known brand. I mean, I think they score because every year they do like the brand index. I think they're always in the top five. I mean, look, it's Coca-Cola, right? What do you think about it, Carson?
So, for those who don't know, Coca-Cola is responsible for creating what we know now as Santa. And not like the idea of Santa, but the actual look of Santa with the red suit, the big white beard and white hair and jolly, fat stomach and, he's being all jolly. That is what we know as Santa because of Coca-Cola. And it's oh god, I don't remember when this ad was released. I wanna say it was, like, 1920 something?
1931.
1931. So, what I love about the ad is, like, it's a great representation of making Santa, one, more approachable to people, but also, like, Santa was more of just an abstract concept before Coca-Cola took the reins and really made him into,
Nice,
like, what we
nice,
see as him now,
nice. That was
right?
good. The ratings, well played.
Do you like that?
Yeah, yeah. I
That actually was not intended either.
it's very well.
But the first ad was the headline was, "My hat's off to the pause that refreshes." I love this, and I'm gonna explain why. So the headline is, "My hat's off to the pause that refreshes, not freshes, refreshes." What I love about it is because he doesn't say the drink that refreshes. He says the pause. So the pause is a stand-in term for drink. It's what you get from the drink. Like, you get to pause and drink it, and it refreshes you, and you feel good, and it's delicious, and it starts to position Coca-Cola as this premier drink of Christmas time. I love it. Love this ad. It's one of my favorites to, like, dissect and think about, but, um, Luke, what do you like about this ad?
I mean, look, it's a timeless lesson in understanding. Again, I bang on about it probably more than anything. The culture of how people use your product, the words they describe it, using those words back to them. Again, you talk about the pause, right? That is a cultural moment and an understanding of what that means. So that the game of advertising, and I think the game of marketing is to create a bond and to resonate. And the fact they've got Santa Claus, the red of Santa, the red of Coca-Cola, like that's you've got that little like color psychology in play. Like it's just a perfect example of how would you know, as Ogilvy was saying, the headline does 80% of the work. A good headline. Maybe it was not 80%, but it was a number like that.
You should spend your entire time on your headline and your visual.
Where does that translate? That translates now to the social media of hooks and videos. That's in copy, right? In your landing pages. Power law lives everywhere. Not power law, sorry. The 80/20 rule lives everywhere, right? You're like 20% of
Principle.
the hook will like it's all very important. And I think this ad, the Santa Claus ad from Coca-Cola, is just a great example of how can we tie up a cultural powerhouse of Mr. Santa Claus himself with Coca-Cola and genius ad. Genius,
Yeah.
quite
I
frankly.
can't It's also crazy to think, like, a multi-billion-dollar brand is the reason we think of Santa in a red coat and red pants with red cheeks.
People don't think that. It's also a great question of how many cultural icons do we look at that have actually been born because of the advertising industry? I mean, you look at, if you look at
Makes
kind
you
of
wonder too, like, how much of history's been altered from the advertising industry.
well, I would say, I mean, look, you can look at look at cigarettes, for example. Women smoking in the 20s and 30s, it was frowned upon, very aggressive.
Marlboro Country boy.
Yeah, like it was precisely that was fantastic. But you know what I mean? Like it was a very and like women smoking was very frowned upon. And then all it took was one clever campaign. No, it wasn't a campaign actually. It was a Thanksgiving parade where these five women come out where the cameras are rolling and they're smoking cigarettes while walking and people can see it. The world sees this, or America sees it, and then with some clever campaigns of blow some smoke
Yeah,
my
it was
way.
it was a it started with a PR stunt
Yeah,
and then they took it into advertising.
yeah. It's And it's just like I think, again, there's a great fine line between propaganda and advertising, and I think for me personally, I mean, look, if you look at the kind of who was the father of PR, I mean, it was Edward de Bernays, right? Also, fun fact here for people, Propaganda is a very famous book. I recommend it just to see how he used to think about the world. But Edward Bernays, who very famous company, it's his great great grandfather, I think. He's related to him. Can you name the company? And I would regard the new future, well, not new future, the way that people do propaganda now, his great great grandson is in charge of. He's the CEO. Well, he's the founder of it. What would you regard as the new way of propaganda now?
Media.
Media, bang on. Biggest media company.
Who is the biggest media company?
Well, I would say, okay, maybe not the biggest in like how you define it, because you could say, well, in what niche, but I would say the one that's got the biggest impact.
Oh, is this like traditional media or social?
Oh, that's a difficult one. Not
That's
traditional,
so it's social media.
but it is in social media. I would say most people, there's lots of cultural jokes around this brand. They've met in a lot of original shows.
NBC, CBS, BBC,
Think, no,
Fox,
no, no, think like streaming platform. Netflix.
YouTube.
Netflix.
Oh shit.
So Edward de Bernays, his great great grandson, I think that's the connection, was the co-founder and see, I think the CEO still of Netflix.
That's wild.
Like, do you not understand like how, like, to me that blows, people don't know this. It blows my mind. Like it's like it must have been written in the stars that his great great grandson would take that over. You know? You know? Anyway, we better move on to
Moving on, yeah.
we got distracted, it happens. Number 3, the hygiene revolution. Do you want to talk about this one?
Hygiene revolution of Pepsodent.
First of all, Pepsodent, I mean, just sounds like the most diabolical, like, brand
Sounds
ever.
like a disgusting name. All right, so Pepsodent. For those who don't know, because I know this one very well, this ad. For those who don't know, in the 1920s, people would not, people didn't brush their teeth. It wasn't a regular thing. Nobody, like, I think it was like maybe 50% of people didn't brush their teeth in the 20s. Like, it was not a habit, a cultural thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so, um, God, who was tasked with this?
I know. Claude Hopkins.
I was gonna say, was it Claude Hopkins?
It was Claudie. It was Claudie.
It was Claude. So it was Claude Hopkins, and he was tasked with basically having to increase people's or increase sales for Pepsodent, obviously. But what he was not directly tasked with was creating a habit for all of humankind or all of America really to start doing. Like, so for context, this ad, it's a picture of a lady. It's a picture of like a strip of film, and it says the headline is "Film: A dangerous coating that robs teeth of their whiteness." And then it's a standard news ad where you have people read and go through it in their magazine or newspaper or whatever. But the reason this ad worked so well is because it showed people, one, the actually let me back up a second, because there's actually more context to this. So Claude Hopkins had to try to find a way to make brushing your teeth, one, like, worth it, and two, to be able to present people. But he couldn't find anything in his research. He couldn't find anything interesting. He couldn't find anything like that stood out or helped him think of an idea or anything like that. So
No
one
TikTok.
day one day he was reading the research, and he kept going over it and over it, and he finally found something that talked about film, which is, if you like rub your teeth sometimes, you'll feel that like filmy coating. It's basically like buildup of bunch of
Enamel,
gunk
right?
and
Enamel?
yeah, exactly, whatever.
Platinum.
I'm not a dentist, I don't know. But he found that, and he realized that like it causes teeth to lose their whiteness from the research report. So he was like, "Oh, this is interesting. This can help me." He wrote the headline, "Film: A dangerous coating that robs teeth of their whiteness," and then wrote a banging ad with a ton of copy to really hammer it home. And he changed the entire nation. I think it jumped from like 50% of people to like 88% of people brush their teeth after this ad. Like, it quite literally changed how the entire world, or at least America, started like why that we started brushing our teeth.
But
Now,
it's
don't
like,
quote me on those stats, but that's what I believe it is.
but
Something
like,
close to that.
but to me, what's really interesting, and again, it's the learning that I've taken from that ad and what Hopkins, how he approached it was like that, that cue reward loop in the sense of, he framed brushing teeth as a solution to the film, right?
Yeah. Yes,
And
exactly.
and I think,
And
yeah,
he didn't just say that makes their teeth yellow or, you know, he did his when he said a dangerous coating that robs you of the whiteness that you want, like, you
mm,
feel something more in that because it feels more consequential, not film. A coating that rob or the a coating that makes your teeth less white. Like, think about the difference between those 2 headlines. A dangerous coating that robs teeth of their whiteness, or he coulda used a coating that makes your teeth yellow.
but it's a thing, and it's loss aversion, right?
Yeah, and
It's the
it
loss of, and
raises the
it's genius.
stakes.
It's genius. It's
It's
genius, and
beautiful.
for me, what I loved about it as well is what the best ads do is that you push that social fear, right? Bad breath, social rejection, yellow teeth, unattractive, right? Because fundamentally, I don't know, I've always said to people, people do things for 3 reasons. It's to make money, save time, and improve status, right? Fundamentally, that's one of my belief frameworks. And I think if you look at this ad, what does it do? It improves your status. And I think, again, as you were saying, within a decade, daily brushing became the standard American behavior. He'd made a behavior, and then those companies, the toothpaste companies, boomed because of it. But what's also exciting for me personally is this psychological trigger that he's used, this kind of cue reward loop and this kind of tactical loss aversion. You see that now in deodorant, shampoo, skincare, right?
I think this ad ran for something like 10 or 15 years.
Damn.
It ran for a
Give me the
long.
attribution on that. That's what I mean.
Yeah, for real.
That's what I mean. So this is, and I think we tied this conversation really nicely in my opinion. It's like we're now in the world of meta now, where they're wanting ad fatigue and all this bollocks, and it's like make new ads and refresh and angles and whatever. But I think if you like, for me personally, and it's harder, right? Because the world wants you to move at pace, and as what we do at Big, speed is very important, speed to iteration. But I think I'm getting to a point now where actually brands need to be more like, right, have a very clear testing framework, but also kind of allow people to do the weird, wonderful experiments. Because when I can guarantee when Hopkins made this ad, he did it in research. People just copy templates off Canva and go, "Why is my ad not working?" Because you've
Yeah,
actually not stood for anything. You've just said
because
exactly
yeah,
the same.
you have no idea what's going on. Like, the first thing I do for clients once they're onboarding, I get I make a 50-page research doc, and then I
Oh,
do a one-page like a one-sheet creative strategy
nice,
doc. And they have
nice.
access to all of it, and it just highlights like statistics, the research, product, the benefits, the features, the audiences, all of this other, like the angles, everything that we're going to be doing. But you have to have research. I cannot tell you where, like, all of my best ideas have come from research.
Hey, and also agreed, but it's also tactical research, right? And people are like, "What do you mean by tactical research?" Yes, it's make the training algorithms up on your phone, look at TikTok, look at Instagram, look at all these things, but actually, like the customer reviews, don't just look at the 5-star and the 1-star reviews because they're too polarizing. You want to look at the 3, 4 stars because that's where the real interesting gold is. Because they're not going, "Oh, I hate your product, I'm never going to use it again," and not going, "I do anything to keep using this 5-star product." It's actually that perfect middle ground of they wanna stick around, but there's things that are frustrating them.
There's also like that's where you should seek inspiration. I don't think it's where you what you should be using in your ads.
But don't just
If
copy
you're
them. Of
yeah,
course, yeah.
but
Of course.
that's where the best inspiration will come from because those are the people who are being the most honest and who are going to be fair about why they gave you not a 5-star and not like a 1 or 2. Like 3 or 4 is the best place to look because those are the people that like the product enough to maybe keep using it, but have a frustration that you can solve.
Yeah. But I think, but this is the thing, right? And I think this is why I really want to mention this in this kind of like toothpaste ads, the hygiene revolution. I do believe that if you're a brand where you're trying to encourage a routine, going back in history and looking about how other brands have done it is a really powerful way to kind of get a good understanding,
Yeah.
right? And again, what was the learning from this toothpaste brand, from this toothpaste ad, right? It was essentially all tied on the fact that very cleverly by Hopkins, he'd associated yellow teeth with attractionness. I mean, where's that come from, right? I can imagine as well that they've run campaigns with models with really white teeth saying they brush every day. They would have, you know, and where are we seeing that now? We're not saying that in the whitelisting and UGC play, right?
Yeah. Well, it goes back to specificity. This is what I always try to hammer home for people. The more specific you are, the better your ad will perform. If you think that this ad would have succeeded just by saying people are brushing their teeth more, why? Like what for what purpose? If no one's brushing their teeth, they're not going to believe it and they're not going to have a reason to do so. This gets specific. Dangerous coding attaches a word to the film or to the coding film, robs teeth of their whiteness. Like that is a
Bro, bro.
specific headline that shows what something is
Mm.
and what it's doing to a specific thing.
But also it ties the danger and ROP, right? People
Yes,
would associate being danger and
the
then being ROP.
congruency is there. Exactly.
And it's
So
just like,
like
yeah,
it's an extra emphasis into be specific with your ads. It drives me crazy when I see ads on Meta that just say better for you supplement or improve your health.
agreed.
How is it going to improve my health?
As
If
for who,
I'm if
why,
I'm
yeah,
unaware or if I'm like problem aware, I still don't know what is your product specifically doing to help me in what area of my life? Because your supplement could solve my, sleep insomnia, but for somebody else it could solve their recovery issue, like their muscle recovery, right? So to me, I don't care about muscle recovery as much. Maybe I have something for that, but I care about the sleep portion. So it goes back to angles, goes back to specificity. Like
of
if I'm
course.
going to be able to improve my sleep and then also recover better because those go in tandem, I want to know that. Like give me specifics, make it concrete, make me like able to visualize everything,
Oh,
right?
I agree. I agree. And I think, I mean, look, we're very lucky. I mean, look, when you look at the print ads of the 30s and 40s, they didn't have landing pages that someone would click on, right?
Yeah.
Like
You have to talk about everything.
you have no excuses, in my opinion, now when you're running ads to not have the can you? Oh, I can't say the fuck. You have no excuse not to have it to be very cohesive. Oh God, two words in a
Con-
row. Hold on, give me a second.
Congruent.
Yeah, that's the one. You need to the add to the landing page, the copy and language needs to be exactly the same, in my
Yes.
opinion. Because if you're saying someone let's say they've clicked on it because they're talking about, you know, um, let's say they've clicked on it because they've got, really bad like stiff jointness in their knees, and the ad title, the ad copy was, um, walk around like you're on pillows or something, right? Softness, and they click on it and it talking about their libido. Because your product also helps them with libido somehow. I don't know. Most products somehow help people with libido, right? So there's no connection there. There's no fine like connection, and you're gonna have a problem because people will click off. I think there's a really good mindset for people to have is whenever you're selling to someone, always think they're looking to get out. They're looking to get out. They're always looking for a way out, right? There's always the emergency door behind them. They're looking to leave. So do not give them any chances to leave. Unless don't make it
Exactly.
kidnapping. Don't kidnap them. Don't do that.
Now, next ad,
Yes.
Listerine and halitosis.
Perfect. I mean, look, first of all, that word that you just said, right, was actually made up. It's not actually real. It doesn't mean anything. It was used as a scientific word to scare people to believe there's a problem. Well, there is a problem. It's not a problem. It's genius. It's the great example of I was talking to one of my co-founders and my bosses, I apologize, my bosses, and they said something very interesting to me. They said, I clicked on an ad recently because in the copy there was a word that I had no idea what it meant, but it was in my space. It was a setter. Talk to the best setters in the game. What's a setter? Similar to this word, right? For Listerine. That word that you didn't do that. What is that? Do I have it? Curiosity. What do you think?
Yeah, dude. One halitosis it's nothing other than bad breath. They just assigned a new name for it because it sounded scientific and it sounded dangerous. right?
Mm,
Like back then, no one had any clue that, and this was like 1928. This ad came out or something like that. Halitosis is just bad breath that they decided to make a scientific name for this, like this ad. And so the ad itself, for everybody who doesn't know, it's a picture of two ladies sitting down and one lady standing at the door. And she's facing away from them and they're like talking to each other. And it says, they talk about you behind your back. And rightfully so. Halitosis is inexcusable.
oh my
So
god, it's the
this
best.
is beautiful because there's something that people don't want people talking about them behind their back. And it's like,
Yep.
well, it's a curiosity gap. Why are they talking about me behind my back? Because halitosis is inexcusable. There's another curiosity gap. What the is halitosis,
Mm.
right? Then it just talks about halitosis is unpleasant breath. It's one unforgivable thing because it's inexcusable. And then it talks about how Listerine is a mouthwash and it's safe and it helps solve bad breath because it kills bacteria and all this other stuff. But it is peak advertising efficiency because this got people to use Listerine and took the brand to what it is now. Like just like rocket fuel. I mean, this ad changed the business and it changed what, like, again, like Pepsodent, it added a habit to people's daily lives.
Precisely. But also begs a really important question for a lot of people, and a lot of people that are in the weeds right now in their own brands. All it takes is one ad. You've seen it. It's rare. If it happens, it is your life. And I mean, this
One
again,
ad, one piece of social content, like all it takes is one. It really, really does. And this is the type of
yeah,
stuff that like here's what I love about this ad, right? It's not like there's a ton of brands who technically could say they talk about you behind your back, right? But this brand, Listerine, was the first to do it and are the only ones that can say it now. Like they own this phrase, right? It's again like Hinge. Anyone technically could say they have a dating app designed to be deleted, but Hinge owns the phrase now because they were the first to say it. So when you hear me ever talk about make sure no one else can say this, it's not like you have to say something that like only you can say. You just have to say something that no one else has said and claim the phrase. This is a great example of that because they talk about you behind your back as nothing like crazy. It's no like crazy creative headline. It's just now Listerine can own it. No one else can say it because they got it first. And it is a double curiosity gap for the headline and subheader to be able to get people to read the copy. I mean, you literally go from they talk about you behind your back. Okay, why do they do that? Rightfully so, halitosis is inexcusable. No one heard of halitosis. What is halitosis?
precisely.
And then it goes in and explains all of it in the copy. I mean, this ad is one of probably my favorite of the entire bunch because it's so emotion heavy. No one wants to be talked about behind their back. Nobody.
But also, it's like the earliest example. It's probably one of the most earliest examples you'll see of problem solution advertising.
Yes.
Uh, where's the agitation and then pushing it to the mass scale? I mean, look, you know, for me personally, this is again a great example of when brands can invent the anxiety and then resolve it later, right? Because anxiety is like what they're talking about, what they're saying. Oh, it's because my bad breath. Oh, it's because I've got no. You see, like you see the mind that you. It's just a very clever ad. Very good. It's a very good social shame ad, right? And it isn't too shameful. It isn't. It's on the perfect line, right? Because but what I love about that ad as well is it lets you think about what they would say behind your back. It's not telling you what they're saying. Your brain wanders there naturally.
Yeah.
But as all good things must come to an end, we must go to the fifth and final ad, right? To set the
Yep.
scene, it's 1964, Cold War tension. Am I right? Yep, Cold War tension's
JFK
at its
was
height.
assassinated.
Yep, not a good day. Nuclear fear at an all-time high. What happened? What's the ad?
So this ad is what I would consider a very extreme version of, how do I put this? A very extreme version of, you know, going very far into what consequences would come.
Outcome based
Outcome based. It's very outcome based. So the ad itself for Lyndon B. Johnson had no mention of a competitor, no mention of who he was going against. All it was a 60-second spot of a little girl plucking daisies and other things going on too, I think, like daily life. And it just showed a nuclear explosion. And all it said at the end was vote for President Johnson. Because at the time, there was so much concern over Cold War tension, um, over nuclear bombs and all this other stuff because of World War II and what was going on with Cuba. It is a perfectly it's a perfect representation of negativity bias and outcome-based advertising, because this ultimately was what got President B. Johnson into the race to win his party, and it showed that he would be the one to not let nuclear warfare happen. So simple. He didn't have to mention his competitor. He didn't have to bash him directly. He indirectly just showed the outcome that would happen if they were to elect his running mate or his running competitor.
And look, and for me, talking about why I also regard this ad as such an important part of the advertising history is, you know, it set the tone for political ads for the next 60 years after that. Looking about when they went to Vietnam War and the ads they would run there, it became the catalyst for a lot of very, very, very aggressive, but very to the nose outcome based advertising, right?
Yeah.
So I think for me, very quickly, I think it's very important to kind of go through very quickly all the 5 ads and the core themes. But for me, my takeaways for someone that's listening, and if you've got this far, would be those best ads. What they did very well is they sold the emotion, not the product. And because people forget this, they think people care about someone's product. No one cares about the product. They care about the
No one
outcome.
gives a damn about your product.
It's
I'm
about
sorry to say it.
it's
Do you
a,
think I really care about Garmin versus Koros? No, I care about what it tracks. I care about what the information it gives me and how it helps me.
you buy with emotion, you justify a second with logic, and I think that's the big fundamental you've got to understand. You know,
And
really, yeah.
I was just saying, I have said this multiple times on this podcast and on my social media. Humans will rationalize anything if you can make them feel something. They will rationalize whatever. For God's sake, we have a Friday in America that's now worldwide for shopping. And that's today. Happy Black Friday, everybody.
Hello, bye everyone. Yeah, filming on Happy Black Friday. Rare one
We're
for us.
filming and uploading on Black Friday.
Yeah, you know we're too busy. You know about this.
We've been way too busy. It now, yes, it's all about discounts, but people make impulse buys on emotion.
Precisely.
There's no logical decision making behind Black Friday. It's all, does my product look cool? Does it make somebody feel something? And are people going to impulse buy on a deal? There is no way you will be able to reason first someone into buying your product. You have to make them feel something.
Precisely.
And it could be the smallest thing in the world that makes somebody feel something, but they will rationalize. Why do you think people buy $300 jackets from Burberry? Shit, more than that.
No, if you're getting them for $300,
Because Burberry, it makes them feel like they have status. We will quite literally logic ourselves into buying whatever we want.
all the time. If I wear this, then that girl may like me, or
Exactly.
I do this action and this will happen, right? And
But
I think
it all boils down to you have to make somebody feel something.
and those 5 ads we've gone through, and I definitely want to do this series again. I really enjoyed doing this. It's so interesting. It's a great. You just learn the context of why the ad came. But the reason why these 5 ads are great lessons for you is every ad hit a core human fear, not being loved, no belonging, being judged, being unsafe, making the wrong
Happiness.
choice. and then every ad offered that emotional payoff, right?
Yeah. It's awesome. I mean, I loved this episode. This was
This is
awesome.
one
And
of my favorites actually. Engagement-wise, would be terrible, unfortunately, but I
yeah.
don't even care. Like, I actually
So
found this so interesting.
also, you guys can hold us accountable here. Luke and I have been talking about getting a guest on for a while, and
Topic we
I
keep
had a buddy reach out who has his own business saying he loves the podcast, which is awesome for us to hear. But he had a great idea to bring people on who might be struggling with their creative and do like a Hormozy hotline type of thing where we help them solve their problems on the podcast.
I like it.
Cool. You want to do that?
Yes, because also as well, I mean, yeah, we could yeah, we could live
Because
shop
I
it.
think one, it's great for them to get value. It's good for content, good content for us. And it can help other people who might be suffering with the same specific problems. So I think what we're going to do is we'll have a regular episode probably next week, and we'll start planning for the
Episode.
week after to do a guest. And we'll probably do that first, and then we'll start bringing other guests on who are in the industry as well.
No, me and Carson were saying off camera very quickly, like January, we're going to hit January 2026. We've got a lot of planned. We, as for us, it's like we want to get to the first like 15, 20 episodes, and then we were going like, now what do we do next, right?
Yeah.
But we're getting better and
One,
better.
exactly. And for us, like, we wanted to bring guests on earlier after like 5 or 10 episodes, but we've just gotten to such a busy time of the year that we've not had the time to like reach out and plan things and do things properly and really like give guests the best experience. So we've decided like, let's kick that can down the road. But now that Black Friday is today and it's going to be over on Monday, we'll be able to probably have a little bit more time with the holidays. Even though we'll still be busy, we'll get a little bit more time back to be able to focus on that stuff. So plan on in 2 weeks, if you're watching this when it comes out on Black Friday, the week of December like 10th or something, for us to have our first guest. And then in the new year, we'll bring on probably a guest or two in the first month.
And if not, we'll be punished somehow. We'll find
Yeah,
a job.
we'll do something to punish ourselves.
We will. We
Keep
will
us
get someone on.
accountable. Keep us. I know there's not a ton of viewers on this right now, but like, you guys can feel free to keep us accountable.
He was accountable. But look, again, as always, we'll keep doing more of these types of episodes. This was really interesting. Again, hopefully for the audience as
Dude,
well.
it's good to be back to the long episodes. I'm loving it.
We've done some short, snappy ones, but we've now done a fucking crack of a long one. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. So this has been me, Luke, and Carson, and we'll be back next week. So thank you. Peace.